pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, everyone. First thing we have is the approval of the agenda. Is there any additions to the agenda? I will say one thing we're going to do is we're going to move item 2 ahead of number 1 today. So if there's no other changes, we're in order for a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make that motion, we approve the agenda.
I'll
with the
second.
change.
Okay, it's been moved and second to approve the agenda with the one change. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carried. Next is the approval of the minutes as presented attached to your agenda.
On the lease with the stockpile, I would think we should strike the term renewal of and just have agreed approval of a lease. We never really had a lease with them before. It's a new lease.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
contractor had the lease. before.
Contractor, we never had one. We never renewed anything. We started, it was a brand new lease. So with that change, I'd move to approve the minutes.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved and second to approve the minutes as presented with the one change. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carried. Okay, first thing we'll talk about discussion on county record storage. Just bring a little background here. Thursday when I was down in Des Moines, Zach called me, and he was planning on moving those records Friday and had to help, and then Snyder's told them they didn't have to move them, that they could stay there. So I thought it was best that we bring it up before all of you guys so you make a decision. I want to make a decision on my own. But after I told Zach we'd do this Monday, but I kind of was thinking about it as I was driving back. The more I think about it, and the first question I asked Zach, if he didn't do it last Friday, means he had to help, if he could get it a different Friday, that's when we decided to have to talk about it at this meeting. He said he could do another day if they had to, because he has some community service people doing.
Yes, yep.
Well, after coming back, I got thinking, we're gonna have to move at some point in time.
Absolutely.
And I think, but I wanted to make sure you guys all felt on the same page.
I appreciate their cooperation, first of all. It was nice of them to say, hey, it's not a problem, you can leave them here, but they don't want them there forever, and we don't want them on private property, actually.
Mhm.
So I would suggest, in light of their consideration, we move them at our convenience, you know?
So this is just the records, or is this the records and the newspapers?
And the newspapers, because I think,
Everything.
Jeff, you were
Everything.
gonna help move the newspaper.
You want the papers?
We would move them at the same time. and
Okay.
that's the deal with it.
All right.
I would prefer that Zach plan on moving it, and it's nice that he has a pretty lucrative or flexible time schedule.
Right, yeah.
Find when it works for all parties and get the job done. Because if you don't, Gene's right, at some point they're gonna have to move, and then it might be bad weather, might
Yeah.
not be at your
Well,
convenience.
especially if he's got community service people.
What's your take on this, Zach?
The only thing that I'm worried about is, our original plan was to go with them out to the education center out in Swan Lake. So as long as they say they're good here for a lot of years, okay then. But I just don't wanna have to
Move 'em
spend
again.
the time, move them, get them down there, and then all of a sudden in 5 years say, well, actually, we could use that space for this or something, and then I gotta go find another home for them somewhere, so.
What about if we compromise and you take the papers, get them out of there?
That was the plan.
Yeah, and then if we don't even know, I mean, if we've got something going on at the jail at some point in time, that might free up some space right here, or, so I guess I would be.
The other thing is, and Zach brought this up, I mean, I got thinking about it, if they're gonna put a sprinkler system in there, I don't know that we want them underneath one of those sprinklers.
No, that's just it.
So I personally think let's get it moved, get it done. And actually out there, conservation, that's easy to get that in there, because
Yeah.
we're overhead
Yeah.
door.
Are they still in the construction mode out there? Or are they,
Yeah, when I
Actually-
called Kenny last week, they were
They're starting.
sheet rocking and stuff, so.
okay, well, it'd be a good time to get them out of there before they get that building in use, because then we'd have to disrupt whatever they want to do. I think
like to get it out of there before then.
And I agree with him not Neil, so I think it's good that we got the time frame to work with it, but if you got the help, let's get it done and get it over with. As I was driving back, I got thinking about it more, but I wanted these guys to weigh in on the decision.
Good idea, get it done.
Okay. So should I maybe touch base with Jason then out there and make sure they're gonna be,
Yeah.
Well, we were told that was fine out there, so.
Yeah, Jay, we had him in the loop and he was agreeable to it, but I think he's kind of agreeable to, it might not be a forever thing, but it could be at least
see, that's what I'm.
a
that's
couple,
what I'm
3
worried
years.
about.
But I don't think we have any other choices. I mean, it's either.
I don't think it's gonna be a
It's in a
short-term
storage
fix.
container for a couple years, or it's in there for a couple years, so.
Or it stays where it's at.
Or it stays there forever, and it may be that, but I'm kinda, way he kinda talked, I think he would like to have it out, but he also understands that it'll be 2 years from the day that we pull the trigger on the jail.
Right.
So, and that may be a year from now, so that could easily be 3 years down the road.
Let's just think ahead short term. Per se, somebody wants to get back and look and get at some of those records, you know, then they're entering private property. And
Right.
I would like to have them under our control for that reason, just
Yep.
because then they're under control, so.
Yep.
So if we say yes or no, it's, you know what we're talking about.
I mean, and from the indications I got from Jason, this is not a short-term deal, that he doesn't have any.
They'll be okay out there for a while.
Or, yeah.
And I'm not saying that we can guarantee that, but I don't see no need for it.
The papers, you're taking them all, right?
Correct.
Very good. That's my understanding.
Yeah. We've kind of created some space over at our office to make that happen.
Good.
So Zach, I guess if it's agreeable with the board that we go ahead and do that, continue with the plan we were taking, if you would touch base with Snyder's and thank them for their offer,
Okay.
but we're gonna try to get them on our own property,
Okay.
so we don't disrupt it with their, in the future.
Jason.
Yeah. So, okay,
Okay.
anybody else got anything else? Okay. All right, thank you, guys.
Thanks, Zach.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks. Happy hauling.
Happy. Dave?
Morning, everyone.
Good morning,
Morning, Dave.
Beautiful day out there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Pile here. Got a utility permit from Breda Telephone, doing business as Western Iowa Networks. They are going to put an optic fiber in south of town here, going to the old rendering works plant, which is called Darling International. And they're going to come from a pedestal that's 1,000 feet east of Mahogany Avenue and 210th Street intersection. And then they're going to be in the north right-of-way line. And they're going to directional bore and plow for about 1,500 feet till they get to Darling International and put pedestal in there. We've got a pretty nice Google Earth picture of it. Section 30 of grant.
Okay, You don't need that part.
I looked at the drainage work on drain 60 section. They did a real good job here. They did some work on the tile and all that, got all that, looked good.
I think that needs to be done too, that, because, so we don't have future problems.
Right.
If there are no other questions or comments, I'd make a motion to approve the utility permit for Western Iowa Networks on 210th and Mahogany.
I'd second that.
Okay, there's been motion moved and second to approve the utility permit for Western Iowa Networks. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Contrary, motion carried. Okay, Dave.
Limestone stockpile, Arcadian Limestone won our quote earlier on this year, and they've almost fulfilled their hauling of limestone into that. I think they've got roughly 1,000 tons to haul. I'd like to add to that contract or quote, whatever you want to call it, another 500 to 1,000 tons to beef that pile up a little bit more.
500 to 1,000.
500 to 5,000 to 10,000 tons, excuse me.
I was gonna say, that didn't sound like very much.
Yeah, thanks for saying something. I don't know that he can get 10,000 in the time that's left for this year, and we look at things and see how we were sitting in the winter period and do some more winter haul like we've done past.
See, doing it for the same price. he was
Same
doing.
price, yeah, $15.44 a ton.
Is that delivered into Carroll then?
That's delivered into Carroll, dumped at the pile, we push it up in the pile.
Who's doing that? Who's doing that?
Arcadian Limestone.
That's what I thought.
It's coming out of Fort Dodge.
Coming out of Fort Dodge, yeah, Martin Marietta. Fort Dodge or
Come out of Gilmore City.
Marietta's right in Mortgage, Fort Dodge.
Need a motion for that?
Yes.
So moved.
Second.
Yeah, it's been moved and second to approve the addition of 5,000 to 10,000 ton of limestone to be delivered in the Carroll stockpile at $15.44, the same price as the current contract with Arcadia Limestone. Anyone, has there any further discussion?
Size is crushed down to
1 inch,
1 inch.
1 inch.
Is this what you listed as 1-inch roadstone?
1 inch roadstone, yeah. It's kind of the same thing as Class A, except Class A is crushed down to 3/4. It's basically the same gradation.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carried.
Person.
Got it cited.
You get one here of Stapleton for a reason?
Yeah, that was gonna be my copy, I think.
There you go.
I think I briefly mentioned, I'm not sure if it was last week, hiring a couple people. And this is the job description that we would hire under. Most of the labor, working on into other activities, being trained on truck driving and motor grader operating, and eventually evolving, but it's a pretty physical job. We'll stick them on the tiling crew and do those things that are pretty hard physically.
So would this be a general application then for, or, I mean, you're also looking for a mechanic, correct?
No,
Or
I
not?
think the two mechanics we have, right now we have two mechanics and a shop foreman. And I think we'll take one of the mechanics and make him the shop foreman, promote him into that. And the other mechanic will stay as a mechanic. so we'll have the two of them. But in the wintertime, they both have snowplow routes, and they wind up leaving the shop. And when Mike quits, we wouldn't have anybody in the shop. And it's actually, gets to be a bit hairy a lot of times when we don't have, when Mike's out on a call and we lose it. So we're gonna try and get it to where we could have a couple in the shop, or maybe use one of them as a spare guy to put on a snowplow in case somebody's sick or whatever. We just don't have any extra people there. And so we'll hire basically laborers to come in and fill that task and see how this goes with the two mechanics. For a
Okay.
long time, we had Mike and a shop foreman, and that worked pretty good, so I think we can probably pull it off.
Dave, can you piece out some of that shop work if you get jammed up?
We can, yeah.
And usually, what do you think, is the cost usually more than you can get it done ourselves, or is it about equal to?
I'd say sometimes it's equal, sometimes it's more, sometimes it's beyond our abilities of equipment and tool. It's getting more so. Things have really changed in the last 3 or 4 years.
Okay.
The electronics is just really something. I mean, we can do some pretty good diagnosing. Ron, one of our mechanics, is really good with the computer, and he can do that, but then oftentimes the repair is beyond the equipment that we have.
So by taking on these two, and these are like entry level
They are,
tech people,
yes.
and that, is there a possibility of moving anybody else up to to take over a snowplow route?
Yes, there's.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that would give us relief from the lower guys to kind of bump some, start moving maybe one of them up or something.
These guys, it would be our intent that we would work them into a snowplow route as kind of, as beginners and
Okay.
see how their aptitude, but.
Okay.
that-
See how it goes first.
See how it
Okay.
goes first. And this is an entry-level position.
Okay.
And somebody that basically does a lot of the hard physical work too. And the last one we hired was under this, and he's on the tile crew right now, and he'll probably stay on the tile crew. He might even, take over the tile crew.
So is this gonna require a CDL?
It is, yes. Yeah, and I believe on this description, we're giving them 3 months.
Yes.
From hire. And it's a little harder to get a CDL now that it's not quite so available locally. I think you have to go down to Audubon to do it.
Dennison, I think also.
And I know the last fellow we hired, it was pretty difficult. It was quite challenging to get it, but he's got it.
Do we provide the truck to take it to?
No, we
take
don't
that
provide
test?
anything. We let them get their
Okay.
own service.
Oh,
We
I
don't
see.
Provide the truck.
Okay.
The physical aspect of, climbing ladders, getting down in the trench, lifting heavy objects, we got that at 125 pounds, a set of grater blades weighs in excess of that. It's pretty physical. Hopefully we will train them to run both the grader and the truck and everything else that we have. Hopefully they'll take the path and they'll go all the way through the chairs. But this is the starting level.
What is your time frame for hoping to have hiring done, and what is the estimated the starting salary?
Late August would be when we hopefully can have it done, and the starting salary would be $20.28. It's 50 cents below the Operator 2 classification, and the Operator 2 classification introduces more equipment operating.
Two things, and I'm sure you're well aware of the benefits involved. I think the benefits, this is one time when the very good benefits the county offers is an asset, because I think it helps us hire more highly qualified people without insurance and pretty decent annual leave and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you, I hope you have a sheet or something so you can show good candidates that you want to hire, what the benefits are, so they realize what's available to them. And on the other side of the thing, I always wish that we could employ more part-time people, like to drive gravel trucks in the summer, or maybe drive a truck in the winter, which isn't too difficult. I understand that the motor grader, we would want our own people in them, they're more difficult to operate, but I would, like, right now, for example, earlier this spring, when you had a lot of the people out doing tiling, we should, maybe you could have a part-time farmer or whatever, drive gravel, all gravel.
Yeah.
So I guess those are just two thoughts I want to put out there. One, our benefits to get the right people hired, and maybe pushing a little harder the part-time people, which is much less expensive than full-time people with our benefits and everything. That could accomplish some really valuable services to the taxpayers of Carroll County.
So you're planning on advertising for this then?
Yes. Yeah. Don't have a copy of that. It's pretty well like the last ad we put out, I think.
I think in here significantly you've changed since the last time you've
No,
advertised.
no, I just, what is that, 2013 on there? That was February
Mhm.
2013. I think that's when we went through and kind of updated that and made it more current with what actually is happening. So it's I consider it a pretty accurate job description.
Now, the physical requirements, they get tested on that after
They
they're
do, yeah.
preliminarily hired, right? So that
Yes.
works.
And then they would go across the street, be tested, and also have their own test. And, so, in the tests, they look like they're pretty accurate, really.
So let me ask you this, the outsourcing of tile work, is it the lack of contractors out there that will do the work? Is that our biggest obstacle?
I would say
That we
so. That,
face?
that work is not really very attractive, given the short window that the contractors have to work. And if they have the opportunity to do a big job or a small job, that
Yeah.
there's a potential to make more money there.
And the consistency of the availability of the jobs
Yeah.
would be an issue also. I would
In
say.
and out and all over the place, and it's kind of like most everything's going. It's the same way with our asphalt contractors, they're not interested in doing a small job.
Yep.
Today we've hired a guy to put the last couple inches on box there south of Glidden, Blacktop Services, who do specialize in doing small jobs. We'll pay a good price for it, but there's nobody else who'll do it. They'll probably get their mix from Henningsen.
And Henningsen won't even look at it. will they?
No, they don't have time to look at it, they can lay.
They have a schedule and they're so stuck to it.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
don't have time to wiggle anything.
They're really busy, and in fact, they had to pull off of our job to go to Guthrie County to finish up a job down there that their comp days on, that they're using cold mill recycle on, and they need to cover that up, just because it's pretty tender and it needs to be covered up.
I kinda heard that they pulled off after they got the temple done.
They did, yeah. So they've got 11,000 tons to lay down there, so they'll be back after they get that done, which should be about 4 or 5 days. They're gonna bring the mix up this plant. But-
The other thing with the tiling aspect of it, it's easier to lay new tile than searching for problems.
Yeah.
You can spend a lot of time and you don't know what you're gonna get into, you get there.
They give you a little job or
Yeah.
not for nothing, and you run all that equipment for a little,
Yep.
couple hours for an hour or something.
And you can't hardly charge what you have in it, and, it's really a tough situation. But there were times when we had as many as 7 road employees down south of the tree roots, we had 4 guys standing on the pipe, 1 guy in the excavator, 1 guy in the backhoe, and 1 guy in the skid steer to get that job done.
Now, you may want to explain why they were standing on the pipe, so it wouldn't float out of the hole, right?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
I mean, just so the public understands.
Because they were laying in
Right.
water that was 2 feet deep. But it was the only way to do it, and it was totally plugged. And, I think we had 5 of those this year. First year I can remember for that.
Well, and I do think that with that drainage thing, that's probably one of the things with us doing those smaller jobs, we're probably doing more justice to our taxpayers than if we had someone farmed out to do them all.
We are, yeah. Yeah, I'd say, we're kind of subsidizing it, be just honest about it. But a great deal of the county is in drainage districts. And,
Statewide, tile repair people are difficult to find in the spring.
yeah.
Till the crop's in.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then once the crop's in, you can't do it because you wreck too much crop.
Yeah.
You get about a 3 to 4 week window in the spring and about a 3 to 4 week window in the fall.
Yeah. It's kind of always been that way, but it's gotten worse over the years because there's less contractors. And,
So Dave, back to this original thing, you were asking for permission to advertise for 2 people, right?
yes.
Okay.
I will make a motion to authorize the engineer to advertise to hire 2 operator 1.
I'll second that motion.
It's been moved and seconded to authorize the engineer to go ahead and advertise for 2 operator 1 people. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carried.
Jump down to equipment discussion. I got a couple of things. I've actually had some prices on graders since March. I mentioned it to you back then that I was gonna do that. Here's some selections too. First page,
That price is good by 5.
the first page is for a 12M3, and the specs are coming around, and the second page is for a 140M3. The last machine we bought was a 12M3. It basically has a little less horsepower, though it's the same engine as the 140M3. The final page is what we paid in 2016. And for the selling price, less a trade allowance. And I asked him to figure us just a straight out with no trade, hoping that you would let us keep the trade that we have right now, keep an extra machine to where we would have 16 total machines instead of 15 total machines. Currently, in the wintertime, we run 13 routes. We added a route from 12 to 13. We've actually put one at Dedham now. We've got that shed there. We used to have 14 routes. We dropped to 12 a number of years ago, and Al, our road foreman, and I too thought that the 13 would work better. We would be able to get better service. That leaves us with 15 total machines or 2 spares. And oftentimes, you can lose a machine pretty quickly and be down to 1 spare, or lose 2 machines and then you'd be down to no spares. We haven't got to the point yet to where we're down to 0 spares. There was a point, and I can't remember when, I think it was when we had the 14 routes, that we had 16 machines. And asking that if we do buy one, that we would keep the trade in this time. and increase our fleet to 16 total machines.
What kind of trade-in value would the, if you were to trade one in?
I'd say it'd be in that 60,000.
60,000?
They're, the trade-ins aren't as high as what they used to be, just because of the demand there.
Is that what we did? We did a trade-in the last time?
We did do a trade-in last time.
Because then we had the discussion about possibly selling it on our own.
Yeah.
Dave, on the specs, is this something that this machine just placed on a route, stays on the route, it doesn't get pulled off to do any special projects, or?
This machine will be in a route, it'll go to Halber.
Because I guess my follow-up question is if we get a bigger horsepower one, is that something you need someplace when we do special projects, a little more horsepower would be good? Or if it's just a general route, why wouldn't we just consider the smaller horsepower?
Yeah, I think the operator would like to have a bigger horsepower one. He got into a situation with the current machine he had when it was first put out, and it just, it wasn't working out well for him. And things have changed since then. And these two machines, though they look kind of identical, I think they're identical machines when you get right down to it. They just turned the horses up on the one, just added more fuel to it. And there's 20 more horsepower. It weighs a little bit more. I didn't give you a sheet of that, but it weighs 800-900 pounds more. And they've added some additional equipment to it.
But Dave, am I right, in what's going with the all-wheel drive, we haven't had the need as much for that extra horsepower?
No, and we really haven't had a good winter to test it, but you know, years ago, graders had 130 horse, and you look at them now, they're twice that. And they've got the all-wheel drive. The all-wheel drive really limits the need for chains, though it doesn't totally take it out, because if we get a really bad one, you'd want to chain that thing up.
Have you figured out how much I've saved yet, as far as chains?
Without a bad winter, I think I'd probably just kind of making stuff up, but it's, I think the all-wheel drive is worth it. I'm kind of hoping once we get settled into the fleet that we can keep our old tandem drives that we've got, the 140Hs, as many of them as we can, and maybe keep them fixed up. And these new ones are really electronic, and they're fly-by-wire, and when they break, they might be broke for a while, kind of just like the new combines and everything else. It took somebody that really knows
Specialized.
what the score is, and there's some good people, but we're talking to my neighbors, you know, they're experiencing some of the same things. It doesn't.
$1,000 a horse difference.
It's basically $20,000 for 20 horsepower.
Is that last one, the first one, those 12 M3s we bought, that last one, is that the only one we bought so far?
Yeah, the one up at Lanesboro.
You really haven't had a real good, true test?
No, I haven't.
And of course, this comes with all the tiers.
It's got all the tier 4 stuff on it, runs a day out, just like the trucks do. I don't know, it's got 7 or 8 computers on it, maybe more. I'm not really sure,
They need to start a flyer kit for graders.
They do, yeah. The operators really like the way they run, and they're really productive machines. I was talking to Jason, the Lanesboro operator, the other day, and he was saying what a difference that front-wheel drive makes when you get into the situation. And you guys that are farmers are known that. Just even four-wheel drive pickup, it just transforms the vehicle.
Swung by Hilbert, the one situation he got in, he wouldn't get out with all-wheel drive.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think another consideration, and we had this discussion earlier when we were talking about all-wheel drive, is the trade-in value. You know, if it's real close, whether or not to pay extra for some of these extra horsepower all-wheel drive. Quite a bit of that I'm certainly will get back when the machine is traded in. You know, you have more valuable machines. Sometimes that's a difference maker. You know, it's not, in addition to just how good it's gonna operate on a daily basis, we have to look at the whole lifespan of the machine, and that includes the trade-in value.
What's your budget? This year or next year?
Next year budget, yeah.
Once you order this now, you wouldn't get this in this current year.
No.
Yeah.
Well, we're almost to the end of it anyway.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of why I've been just sitting on it. I think there's a point here where we could probably get one pretty quick, but if we go a little longer, they're on an allocation, and it might take us longer to get it, which is probably not here or there. The machine we're replacing has probably got 9,000 hours on it. It'll go into the spare fleet, and we're not really hurting there as far as that goes.
So what do you think we can get this bought for?
Oh,
You can buy it for the same price as the last one?
let's try.
Well, usually we always get about it.
Yeah,
We've always got to ask them.
the one hard money thing, they've got a manual lift group, the front lift group with. Before, we always took the lift group off of an older machine and put it on the newer machine. And I think that lift group's about $6,000. And the putting it on and off and transforming the old one is maybe $1,500, $2,000. So there's probably $4,000 worth of hard money into that. But shoot, I wouldn't be afraid to offer them what we had for the last one. See
That's
where
right, I
it
think
went.
that would start.
Yeah.
Don't know unless you ask.
The last one we got was at 12M, right?
Yeah.
Three.
Mhm.
And is that what you're asking for this time, or that you're asking for the higher horsepower, the 140?
No, he's asked for 12M.
I think
Right,
I'm asking
12M.
for 12M, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So you.
Just wanted to be clear on
We'll
that.
offer him 313, 685.
Yeah.
Because in Halbert, you're not really in the big hills. I mean, if you get down in Dedham area, Coon Rapids, you get anywhere the hills down by Coon.
Yeah.
And the other thing with this is, I don't know, like in tractors and trucks, I mean, you can put a chip in them if you need the more horsepower down the road.
Yeah.
So that's not a big deal.
I would think that could happen, but we haven't been able to make it happen yet, but I'm sure it's kind of a marketing thing.
No, I can find them for you.
What do the rest of you guys think?
I think the smaller one is more than adequate for what we're gonna use it for. Like I said, we're not planning to use it out and pull it for anything special. It was just a regular route. So I would think the smaller machines been getting by. I think that would be the right move there. And I think we just as well try to jew them down as much as we can. And just as well go ahead and go with it, because the two machines will also give you a little more flexibility on your shop problems.
Yeah,
Kind of.
yeah, we'll be able to just pull one aside and park it until it gets
Until you
fixed.
can get, yeah, it give you a little more leeway.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know, aware of it, Rich, but this is one thing, we cannot go to another dealer and get a different price, because
Yeah.
they're price protected.
Yeah, territories.
So all we can do is deal with them.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about John Deere?
Yeah, I think about it now and then.
Don't think too hard about it.
You had some once, didn't you?
Yeah.
They tried one 2 years ago?
2 years ago, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It didn't.
Didn't work?
No. I think a lot of this is we're buying service with these and resale value at the end. It's been a long time since we've done the math, and it would be with old numbers, but there was, even though the Caterpillar stuff cost more money up front, in the end, the total cost of ownership is quite a bit less just because of its resale value and trade.
Did that stand out one time when we had, looking at trading in the John Deere Cat, and the Cat trade-in value made a huge, huge difference.
I think it was the last John Deere.
Nobody
we
wanted
had.
the John Deere.
Yeah.
Where are these made at?
I think,
You know?
Some are made in Brazil, some are made in Peoria.
Peoria, probably.
Probably Peoria, it's a big plant there.
Road farmer should, or the engineer should drive it home off the lot.
We'd send that Crawford County engineer over to get it. Peoria.
Any other questions, Dean?
No.
I mean, and I will say the last time I think they tried a John Deere, they said they have improved them, but they still got a ways to go to
It's-
meet up
yeah,
with cats. That was what your people reported.
Yeah, it's getting to the point to where it's starting to get interesting, that's for sure. Just because of troubles that we've had that we never used to have, the reliability is not where it was, just primarily due to the electronics.
Didn't realize they had two.
Yeah, the electronic stuff on, it starts shaking it, getting it wet.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of variables.
Any other discussion?
You need a motion to buy one, or you want a motion to look at it, or are you just gonna do some more?
I need a motion
exploration?
to have him authorized to give him an offer of, do you want to try to look at last year's price start there?
Yeah, sure.
To negotiate a deal.
Yeah. If we get within 5% of that, I think we'd be good.
So is there a motion to authorize Dave to go ahead and offer him, what,
13,686.
or do you want to round it off?
Go 313,700.
Might be a little different due to the lift package we're taking with it.
The lift package, yeah, got to start somewhere.
That's right. I'd make a motion that we do that,
Okay. At what price?
at 313,700.
Okay.
I'll second that motion.
Moved and seconded to authorize Dave to go ahead and try to negotiate at 313,700 for new 12M3 cat motor grader.
Was there, when we did the other one, was there something with a guarantee on this that we paid more for?
I think the last time in the negotiations, you did get a.
We talked about it.
Extended warranty. right?
Yeah.
This has got 5-year, 5,000 hours, we just talked about it, but we didn't take the plunge. 5-year, 5,000 hours is on the bottom of.
Okay. So that's more dollars.
That is more dollars, and it might be worth it. It's to,
And that's something that you can also negotiate into. If they don't want to move on the price, maybe they'll throw that part in.
Yeah.
You know, that would be worth some value.
I'm not sure where the next step is in 7 years. It was a considerable amount of money. I didn't bring that information.
Yeah, I remember
with me.
that, yeah, it was.
I think that kind of scared us off.
Mm.
Okay, any other questions?
So we're getting the standard warranty though, correct?
1 year from here.
Where's it stand?
The 1 year.
That's, we get
unlimited
the
premium.
1 year, and then we get the 5-year, 5,000 hour governmental premier warranty,
Okay,
which is.
And we get that.
Takes care of the power.
All right.
thing,
all right.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary? Motion carried.
yeah. Thank you. One other thing under equipment, I budgeted for one dump truck. We consume roughly a dump truck and a half a year as far as hour-wise, whatnot. And I haven't gotten any quotes on that yet. But I guess I'd ask if I could get some quotes and bring them to you and see what you thought.
I feel that anytime you can get quotes, all you want. It's whether you get the yes answer is what counts.
Okay?
Didn't we just
Sounds
get
good.
done?
Yeah, we did.
So
We're a little behind time.
What are you gonna get quotes on? All,
I'd say Mack and International, the two local dealers. International was out the other day.
no Sterlings?
No, they don't make them anymore.
Why? Henderson's driving some of those.
It's gonna be dual axle setup.
Is there some-
Full top type of situation.
Yeah.
Is there some new transmission options in these newer trucks?
Yeah, I think we'd go with an automatic transmission on this one. Either the Eaton Fuller or the M-Drive, they call it with Mack, they're pretty similar. Actually, on the same day, both Mack and International showed up with two dump truck demos that were configured almost exactly alike.
Huh?
I got to ride both of them, and we took them over and weighed them, and I was pretty impressed with the International. It's, yeah, it was a pretty,
You were impressed in that?
I know.
What were the doors like when it closed?
The sun is out.
You didn't have to hold the door
Chevy,
while you were
was it
in
a
the
Chevy
road.
or was it a Ford?
No, it kind of surprised us all. They've come up with, I'm not sure what they call the truck, but it's a truck to deal with the market that we're in. And it was pretty nicely built, and a Cummins engine and an automatic transmission. The automatic transmission is not like one in your car. It's one where the clutch is actually modulated electronically. There's no clutch pedal in it, but it's a direct drive transmission, like one that's in a conventional truck, other than the clutch does it. It does use a torque converter.
You've came a long ways with those.
They have, yeah. Yeah, and
It makes it a little easier for the operator in some circumstances.
that's what we got in our new belly dump tractor, which is here. It's getting its fenders on, but I think we paid for it out of this bill day. And
So, wouldn't it even like that, what you're talking about, that, wouldn't that be better for plowing snow, that automatic? You wouldn't be,
yeah,
I mean, that's one of the things, is always trying to get to the
no
right
shift
speed.
in it. You can lock it in gear. You can press, plow in 6th gear. You just plus and minus it up and down, and it stays in the gear that you're after. A torque converter one with an Allison transmission, which is more expensive and would probably work even better yet, because that would have that ability to lug. But this is probably the way to go. I had a request from a Paul Schumacher to close Orange Avenue on the 29th of July for a private fireworks demonstration.
What date?
On the 29th of July, they're gonna have some private fireworks out there, and I didn't really know what to do. It's kind of something private that wasn't public, and I didn't want to say that we would bring the signs out there. It's right by the Schumacher pit.
No, okay.
That north-south road in there. It's not a heavily traveled road. I was just debating whether it would be correct for us to,
Okay, what is his intentions?
I think to,
I mean, is he gonna use the roadway during that?
no, I think they're just not wanting anybody to get real close, because they're using professional grade fireworks, and they don't want anybody
And
near.
the reason I'm questioning is, my concern is that they're setting them off on the roadway, and then we have a liability involved.
Yeah,
If you're just closing the road down and for just no traffic, then I don't have that big a problem with it. But
How long do they want to close it? Couple hours?
probably, yeah, half an hour, I think, was the duration of the display. I don't think they want anybody driving past in case there was an accident or something with one of the fireworks, because they're professional grade fireworks.
And they plan on, we'll set the signs out and they just drag them across,
I would think that would be,
because I don't think we want to go out there
no,
at our expense to take them up and down.
I agree.
What was that, Gene? You
I
have
don't,
that?
I don't,
They
I
can
don't
set
think
them
we
up
should
and take them
have to go
down.
out
Yeah.
to the county to spend, set them
Right,
up and down,
right.
we can deliver them out there and that's it. But that was, my first concern was that they would use that roadway
Yeah.
for the fireworks, that I would not approve of. Because that would drag us into the liability of
I sense a hornet's nest.
I really
I'd say no.
I really hesitate to shut down a public road for private purpose.
Can I shut down the Willie Blacktop for 2 hours? Dave
Well-
Wendell, I mean, you got all these people that applied for permits that are on county roads.
it. And I will tell you this, that the cities, like, they do shut roads down like for celebrations for direct traffic.
Yeah.
Like their street dances and stuff, they do that.
We've done that up in Breda. In fact, we've done, we're gonna do that the second time up in Breda. Here, they're gonna do that and for the Breda fireworks. I'm not sure, we always used to drag the barricades out there. I'm not sure if we do that or the city
Yeah,
does it
well,
now.
yeah, that road gets closed every year.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
but that's a public affair and this is a private affair.
I just, how many fireworks permits do we have this year? Probably 15 or 20. We have, you know, in most years you have 5, 6. Next year we could have 40, half of them asked for road closures. I just think it's a hornet's nest, we'll just keep stirring. That's my opinion of it. I wouldn't be in favor of it.
I'm thinking of the Carroll Country Club, has some pretty nice fireworks right along Highway 30.
They have liability there, falling on there, they have Carroll County Road.
I guess-
So what's the reason for the closing? I mean, you say fireworks, I mean, up in Breda, they closed that Blacktop Road. They don't want
Mhm.
people parking out there because if the wind's in the wrong direction, they can get a lot of damage done to their cars.
Mhm.
That's the reason they do that.
Yeah. He told me it was for safety.
I appreciate that, but man, maybe they're handling more than they should if it's that dangerous. We have to make adjustments for their, dangerous fireworks. I'm really hesitant. I'm not in favor of closing public road for a private situation. And I appreciate the fact maybe that they want to make it safer. But I think there's more to it than that. They want a private party.
I guess I look at it on 240th Street, he isn't that far from 240th. If you close down the Orange, you're almost gonna close down 240th, and that's a main road.
And I guess I've said already about the country club situation. The biggest fireworks you're gonna see, and it's right next to Highway 30.
I see your point. Yeah, we don't want to start doing that for 20 different fireworks.
No.
Setting a precedent.
And like I say, my initial first concern was that they were using that road for large display. That was
Yeah.
not going to fly with me.
I don't think it's an issue here, but sometimes you close a road, there's other people that live on that road. I see they're both Schumachers that live on the road, so I don't think that's an issue here, but
There's no one that lives there.
I don't know what the neighbors may be doing for harvesting or moving hay or anything else. And it's just not a good idea.
The closest thing that we've done for really mostly private use would be to close a road, a lowly traveled road, so they could pump manure, put a manure pipe across.
Yeah.
And usually we justify that, and that they don't tear up the road with the tanks. And that's.
And that's caused trouble.
And that's caused trouble, yeah.
Yes, it
Yeah,
has.
we've gotten some people angry with us that don't like the manure haulers and,
Allowing that to happen.
yeah,
Although it makes sense, but
yeah, it just sometimes.
When is our next meeting? 4th is on Tuesday. Are we meeting July 3rd?
Yes.
Monday before, we're meeting July 3rd.
This is the 29th of July that they're gonna do this.
29th, yeah.
Well, if there's something we're missing, they can get in touch with us and ask us to reconsider, but at this point, I'm not in favor of it. Maybe there's something we're missing, but.
yeah, we probably have to be willing to do something similar for others, I
Yep.
suppose.
It's tough to close a road.
It is, yeah. I've got one drain in Lanesboro. There's a depression on Third Street and just south of the intersection with Johnson Street. Johnson Street, excuse me, not Johnson, Johnson. And, sounds like a good possibility that there might be some trial issues right there.
Drain 45.
45.
I should bring a map with me.
We had a lot of issues in that area.
Yeah, we've had a lot up
Is that flat, is that the problem?
there. Yeah,
Yeah, and they're
all
old.
those drains up there in that town are probably pretty old, aren't they?
Yeah.
100 years old, probably.
100 years old, that's pretty,
Yeah,
that's
I'm
pretty
not
well
sure.
in anymore, any, 1913 to 1919.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the repair of that drain?
I'll make a motion to approve drain 45 in Lanesboro.
No, I'd second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any other discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carried. Okay, Dave?
I think I've pretty well been over this. The asphalt's gonna be delayed for about a week, give or take, while they go to Guthrie County and do that work. They'll start back up the 4th of July week, and they'll start on the Halber Road this, and start putting the bottom lift on the Halber Road. Yeah, the box culvert, the last one is done, and hopefully we're getting asphalt on that today, so we'll be able to open that road up. We put the bottom on with our skid steer and our grader and whatnot, the bottom portion of it, but we want the top smooth. So they're gonna use paver for the top. We
Where
did-
was that at, Dave?
South of Glidden, north
Okay.
of Coon Rapids.
Right, gotcha.
That one we call box.
Yep, yep, that's right, yep.
Just really, I think a few of you have been out there and looked at that. I think they
Was that
really
the Thursday?
Did a super job on it.
Yeah, I looked at it on Saturday.
Yeah, I'm really pleased with it. And we did get the new truck, though it's getting fenders on it yet, so we don't have it. We've had it in our possession, we don't have it anymore. We paid for it. Gave it back to them to put
New one?
the new truck, new
Oh, this
truck tractor.
Tractor.
And so we'll pull that belly dump. We fixed up the old belly dump, so we should have 2 belly dumps that we can run pretty regular on long hauls. One will haul about 26, 27 ton, and the other will haul 30, 31 ton, so we should have some pretty good capacity there.
I see they put the shoulder on the Swan Lake Road.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Are they going to, are we gonna lay over that again? Is
They
that
will.
what's gonna happen?
2 more times they'll lay over the entire works.
Okay.
Show edge to edge, sure, the top will be like 30 feet wide. So, and they've also got the shoulder on the Halber Road all the way from 71.
No, that one's,
down.
that's got a lot of the concrete, streets coming into it like that. How do they do that? How do they,
Put a fill it
you're
out.
gonna feather out?
Yeah.
Down,
At the
over
end.
the concrete?
Yes, and some of it we milled into it to give a butt joint to where
Okay.
a smooth transition.
All right.
And that is only supposed to be 3 inches.
Only 3 inches, yeah.
Boy, like there where I pulled off by the state shed, it seemed like it's more than that.
Oh, yeah.
But I think it's because they widened it. And that gravel before was like this, so when they widen it, it makes it look like the depth is more.
You're exactly right, yeah. You know, we were going out 5 inches next to the road, where the edge was down, we probably were just going 4 inches. And out there at the outer edge, we're, and
Squared it off.
we've underestimated really our, the amount of material that we get out of there is, so we're gonna have to make up, that's what some of the white rock will go for, is to drizzle that out there once we get it to.
So
make
do they do
shoulder.
that shoulder work, or you guys?
They're gonna do, they'll pull in what's there, that existing material that's alongside the road, they'll pull that in, shape that up. We'll come by with our truck and then drizzle some to the outside. Probably do that over a lengthy period of time.
So it won't be like what was done on that Halber Road?
No,
So do you roll that then, or do you have some way of putting weight on that?
it'll get wheel rolled. But yeah, most of the stuff is pretty dry right now. Not the best situation for compaction.
I mean, that shoulder on that Halber Road's really held up good.
It has, yeah.
Even though it's white rock, and that someone was concerned we're gonna put so much in the ditch.
Yeah,
It stayed there.
it did, yeah. Yeah, just, it comes at a price, a shoulder like that. It's, but it's a good shoulder. Yeah. Anyway, that's about all I can think of. Gosh, that's enough.
Any considerations going with rumble strips at all?
Um,
Shoulders
Or centers,
or
or.
centers?
No.
Not really, huh?
Haven't yet, no.
Has there been any studies on that?
I think there must have been some, but I haven't seen any formal research. A road that gets, 500-600 cars a day versus a road that gets 5,000-6,000 cars a day, like Highway 30, they're kind of a couple of different animals as far as, because I can see it where a road like that is.
Some counties are putting them in.
Some counties are putting them in.
Ida County.
Yeah.
And, well, but on the other side of that, there's a lot of lane diversion equipment in these cars anymore as you get newer models.
Yeah.
There's a lot
That's
of-
true.
A lot of that going on.
Yep,
So
that's
it's
true.
that's gonna help some too. But
Yeah.
I'm wondering just where the ag traffic is gonna drive. We're hoping to keep them on the road, not off just on the edge of the road, because you look at some of those sprayers, and you look at some of those manure tanks that are running right along the edge of the road. A lot of our issues that we have is just because they are running there, and we've been laying 22 feet of asphalt on 22 foot of base, or just a little bit more, for 40 years. And hopefully, we'll avert the problem. And with that rumble strip, I'm watching them driving and to see just where they drive at
Mhm.
with their.
I was on 30 yesterday, and I caught up with probably 15 of the tractors headed towards the casino for the tractor ride, and they were all straddling the rumble strip. And it looked like the wheelbase would support one wheel on it and one wheel on the shoulder, but they chose to straddle it. I think it was because of the rumble
Yeah.
and the tractor.
I don't think they're a bad idea, those rumble strips, and, from that aspect. And I think, a road like that road north of Glidden, maybe that's got more traffic on it, or even that Burrito Road, might possibly. But it does cut down on your reusable shoulder, where, they've got shoulder outside the shoulder, and it does really kind of cut down on that too.
Well, what about the center? I guess that's kind of what I was referring to more than
Yeah.
anything, the center.
Widening the shoulder's gonna be a big
That's good.
asset on safety in particular. And I can see where the rumbles are good, but I understand how the usage of the road
Makes a
determines
difference.
the benefit from them too.
Well, and I've had comments made since that down there's been done now, the width of it, how much people appreciate it. And you're right, a lot of these vehicles anymore have some sort of lane departure.
Yeah.
And I think it's probably more important that we get those lines painted on than anything.
Yeah.
Because allow them to operate off of them. But
Yeah, it's something we could do at any time. It's not really very expensive either.
It's not?
No.
my only thing was with the salt and things that wind up and does it cut into deterioration faster? And that would be
Yeah.
a study I'd be more interested in.
And I think time would show.
Will tell.
Will show that just what happens there.
It gives it a better opportunity to get under things. That's me, my only thought about it, but.
I
Not
don't
even
know.
the water sitting there freezing thawing.
Yeah, just the
Yeah.
water.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, there's more than meets the eye.
Yeah.
If we had more traffic, if we had a couple thousand vehicles a day, that the potential for a collision inversion would be much greater, the odds.
Maybe if we do the Rita, that's probably that is the highest traveled road we have in the county, is that
Yeah.
correct? Maybe that we should look at it, just doing that one trip, and watch it and see the benefits, the bad.
I think
I
it's,
don't know what the cost, you see what the cost is on the first, but.
Yeah, near as I could tell, it's maybe 5,000-6,000 a mile, so it's not really a significant amount of money compared to.
Both sides?
That's a good question, Gene, yeah.
I would think it'd be more than
Yeah, that's pretty cheap. I have two questions for you, Dave, on the expenses, the total is that the total contract on the Lookout gravel, the 18,000, that's it?
There should be
There's one
two
there
amounts
also
there.
for the
One for the
hauler.
gravel and one for the hauling.
Okay.
And I will ask you the question I have, Dave, some of that, is that what, down on 330th Street, down in that wide grade by Tellman?
I think so, yeah.
Very good stuff.
The guys liked it.
It's got some rock.
Yeah.
Got some real.
And they added 10%, but, even that, there was still some rock. It's nice gravel.
They took that, I think they got 2 or 3 inch rock that was all large rock like that, and they fed that into the crusher along with the gravel that they fed in there. They'd actually go down to where they were getting the gravel, get a bucket full of that, and then just kind of flail it out across the face of it. And then as they dug it out, they dug out some of this rock and the natural rock that was there, took it up, and it got a fairly even distribution of it throughout. And we didn't wind up paying for a lot of fines. Say if we put 1 inch road stone in or something like that.
The other one was rotor construction, the approach at the Arcadian Manning shed.
That was those 2.
We outsourced rather than
Outsourced
do
that.
that.
Yeah, that was a roughly 24 by 24 concrete pad outside the front of the shed that
Okay.
wasn't part of the
Over and
contract.
above.
And I see
Yeah, we
there's a
approved
Second
that.
payment to Rotors,
Yeah.
for that shed?
Yes.
How far is that shed? Last time I was up there, all it was.
I looked at it yesterday, and the
It's,
cement is all done, including the pad.
That's what was.
And there's no material or anything about the
Material
cement.
is supposed to be delivered the morning of the 30th. If we don't get the delivery, we'll keep the check. We won't, we're having the check delivered to us. We're just trying to pay for everything we can out of this budget. But
Oh,
was-
is that the reason that second, okay.
Yeah, that's the second.
Because I was gonna say, with the second check, I thought.
I just about took a picture, but the cement, all the cement, including the pad, is done at Arcadia.
Yeah, we paid for that, and we will be paying for that delivery of those stockpiled materials or the entire building on the 30th.
Trying to get as much in this year done.
Yeah.
Okay.
If it doesn't.
That answers my question.
Guys, watch the bills, that's great.
Well, but that is our,
Yep.
Yeah.
I just say our directive, or what's the word I'm looking for?
Responsibility.
So, any other questions for Dave?
Yeah.
That's good discussion.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have is a fireworks permits for Chuck Danner.
No complaints on any of these, Joanne, that you know of, nobody's, okay.
We do it one at a time?
Yep, we better. So is there any discussion on Chuck Danner's? If not, in order for a motion to approve it? I'll make a motion to approve. Okay, it's been moved to approve the permit for Chuck Danner. Is there a second?
Second.
Been second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carried. Okay, next we have one is for, I guess it's Eric Paulson.
I'll move to approve the Eric Polson permit.
I'll second that.
Been moved and second to approve the Eric Paulson permit. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carried. Then we have one for Jared Strong for the 2nd of July. Is there a motion on that one?
I'll make a motion that we approve that permit.
Second.
It's been moved and second to approve this Strong fireworks permit. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carried. Okay, next we have the payables. Is there any other questions in regard to payables? I noticed that, do you know on the ambulance, what was the carpet for down there? Or linoleum or whatever? Carpet vinyl, it looks like. That's, about $5,300 for it.
No, I do
Yeah,
not.
there were two of them, one for the carpet, one for the laying, I believe.
Yeah.
I
I
can find
do
it now.
not know
Man,
that.
I thought we did some carpet down there not that long ago.
I do not know that, Gene.
And I see the state audit bill came through, getting higher every year as we talk. And I see we got the bill for the prison signs.
Yeah.
We got the bill for the rivets yet,
For what?
for the rivets.
Or rivet old sign, huh?
We're getting bids on that yet.
What's a Hickenbottom?
Intake.
I should ask Dave that, what's that?
It's an intake for tile. Picking bottom intakes.
It's something you take for a cough, Dean.
Yeah.
Allergies.
Well, I need something for a cough and allergies, so.
Well, yeah.
That's why I asked. And why are we getting salt? No. Or is that, we just paying for
I
that
think he
salt?
gets that as he's got somebody that's on a good home on the backhoe.
Backhaul.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
I think there's some
Sheriff hired, we had a check to the city of Coon Rapids.
Yeah.
yeah, I saw that too.
I was wondering about that, but we had agreed to pay half, there's $10,000 buyout on him because of the cost of his.
Correct.
And so we paid $5,000 earlier, and this was planned to be paid in fiscal 18, but it was okay in his budget, so he moved it ahead to this year and paid off. For Sherburne, I believe it is.
Yes.
And DHS had $8,800 in office equipment?
Yeah, well, one thing about with that there, now you correct me if I'm wrong, Neil, but we get reimbursed from that, right?
A percentage.
Percentage of it.
From the
And we-
state?
Majority of it we get back,
The majority of it?
yeah.
I
Huh?
Okay.
don't know what percentage is.
But I think it's a higher percentage. But that's right.
So is that with all the items, or is that just with?
With
All the
DHS.
items with DHS,
I think it's
we
separate,
get a
a few things,
percentage.
but most of what DHS that we pay for, that comes back through that
LA,
allocation or whatever.
Okay.
You find it first, the assessor's office. We asked
These
questions.
expenses are within that allocation, which we've previously approved, I believe.
Mhm.
The assessor's office had two bills for the same amount, and I talked to Cindy this morning, and what she's doing, she's prepaying her next year for the same amount. She locked in next year. That's what she did. She had the money in the budget, so she went ahead and locked it in. That's why there's two identical.
two different
Amounts.
invoice numbers, but we have to put them in.
Right.
By invoice numbers.
For a significant amount.
Per significant amount.
Was that 33,000?
3334, trying to find it again.
30,497.
30,497, there it is.
What page is that?
Last,
9 and 13.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I did see it.
Okay. Any other discussions on the payables?
I'll make a motion to approve the payables.
I'll second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the payables. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carried. Okay, next we have is discuss the employee handbook update. I did talk to Ken. Ken didn't really have an issue with her doing it, but his more was like, it needs to be probably more department specific on certain things. He's like, some things we do down here are different, because we're a different animal than what secondary roads is. And my explanation to him was that I think it's kind of our desire that John be involved, and she's wanting involvement from all those department heads. That's the time to put your thing in. If there's something that they gotta do separate for their scheduling or whatever, I don't know. But otherwise, he had no problem. So I just talked to him this morning.
Doesn't he have his own handbook? Secondary roads, was it?
Well,
They
the
have their own
unions,
handbook?
unions do.
Unions do,
Yeah.
okay.
Now, quite a bit of that's probably changing.
Yes.
To give you a specific example, in Second Judicial District, the handbook there has gone from 266 pages to 36 pages.
Big drop.
So.
So it's not an issue then,
No,
really?
he said, he was more, comment he made was that he thinks that sometimes they need to look at the departments and see if there's any particular they need put in there for their department. So,
What is the possibility of having our county attorney's office do this, as opposed to hire Von Borken to do it? I'm sure that she'll do a great job. I don't have any issue with the quality of her work. But $4,800 is a significant amount. And furthermore, there's 99 counties that are doing this, and I would think we could get some really great ideas from other counties. It's like each one of us is
Trying to reinvent the wheel.
reinvent the wheel. It's kind of like divide and conquer type thing, where you charge everybody $4,800, and when a high percentage of it is all the same thing for each county. You know?
A lot of the verbiage will be.
well, and I think
pretty
that
close.
probably would be true for most of the normal years, but this year, well, again, like you just said, probably a lot of the biggest changes are gonna be with the union ones. And, I would think if you're looking to get more what has happened in other counties, we'd probably get that more through her office than we would with John's.
Yeah, I
And-
think she'll do better at that. She'll do better at that. Good point, Gene.
And I don't know that John's office is too well equipped to do this. I don't know if he'd even willing to do it.
Well, he should be capable of doing this, but
I know,
I have concerns about it getting done
In a timely fashion.
in a timely fashion.
That's, would be my only drag
I
there.
just don't know if we want to go that road. I get your point, Neil. I
Well,
understand that.
And one of my concerns of him doing it, obviously, was, I think with an outside person doing it, it wouldn't show any favoritism towards any
One particular.
entity.
Right department, yeah.
Because you're getting some personalities involved, and you have
Exactly.
one local, not picking on John, but one, they know each other, and it might
Mhm.
get personalities involved where it's supposed to be a position.
Certainly, we could look at his office, though, for yearly or semi-yearly updates. As the department heads would see issues come up that they would like clarification or changes. Surely, he could handle it after that point, I would think.
Well, and I think she will do that here too, but she.
But she's gonna bill you every time you.
No, normally if we have a question with,
Oh.
You know, I would say that should probably be a request to her, is that we're okay with the $4,800, but we want 5 years of
Don't-
updates.
she's on a retainer with us.
Yeah, but we pay for that, some of that,
We
yeah.
do, not a lump sum.
Yeah.
But when we call someone, the department, we don't get billed for it.
Getting off subject just a little bit, having a retainer for someone for union negotiations is going to be far less important a year from now than it is
Right.
today.
Yeah.
Probably this year, it's a good idea to keep it because of where the year changed.
Well, the underlying thing was that she mentioned the other day is we're still waiting on a ruling, and I'm sure John eventually will find that out, who falls into the public service. Public safety and who doesn't. And that may, as soon as we get some clarification of that, which may not be for a while.
Yeah.
And she would be more likely to be on top of that than, but John may be able to find that out, or his office may be able to find that out also, but sure.
In reference back to our employee manual, if we do decide to have Von Borken do this, I will expect our county attorney to review the preliminary draft before we approve it.
Mhm.
Well, I think he ought to be involved in the process.
He's like a department head, he should be right in the middle of it too. Or one of his gals should be.
He's one of the departments.
That's right.
Well, I want a double take from his office, both as department head, A,
And I
and
want him
legal
to be-
expertise, B.
Exactly.
And she's not an attorney. She's very up to date on all this, but she's not an attorney.
I will make a motion that we go ahead and retain Renee for the handbook, and I think the cost is $4,800.
I believe that's correct.
I would second that motion.
Then moved and seconded, and I also, with that motion, I agree with what Neil says. John needs to be involved with it and kind of review it too.
If you want to get some clarification on the updates, you know.
That would be my only concern is
Yeah.
the updates. Whether we can get updates for a year, 2 years, 3 years.
In her proposal, she mentioned that. Didn't she not say that,
Includes meeting, training sessions with county department heads, travel mileage, copy costs, and so forth, is what the past minutes said.
well, the sentence I was referring to is if the county modifies or changes policy between updates, I will also take care of making that
That's-
revision.
Between updates, so.
Does that satisfy your?
Yeah, I think so.
I underlined it down there, because I had that same concern.
County
And my question to
modifies or
her is
changes
what,
policy between updates.
between revisions, and I'm not sure what its revision is, but that's probably every
classifies a
5 years or
revision
so.
revision.
Yeah, and so I would say that's
All
probably
changes.
changes during the process.
No, that's changes after we do it for the next several years until we do another major
If the
revision.
county modifies or changes a policy between updates. I will also take care of making that revision.
I think that's what she's done in the past. I think we've had some revised. But I think, it's particularly what she's saying there, I think it's, let's say we get it done this year, and then next year's legislature changes something, that's gotta be updated, and she will do that.
That was the example she used.
Okay.
If we pay her $4,800, she does it, it's done, the law changes, she'll make that update,
Okay,
input it.
good.
Any
That's
other
good enough for
questions?
me.
Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary? Motion carried.
Footnote, we have her on tape, as opposed to what she all said last week concerning that, and that was
Oh.
my understanding of it.
Good
And
point.
if you want to look at the
Okay.
tape again, they'll give it to you.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, next we have is the approval of Class B beer license for Hy-Vee at Carroll RPM show.
Yeah, Swan Lake Park.
Yep.
Show house.
We just need to change the expiration date from 1900 to 2018.
How's that always happen? It's July 27th, and they've still got it January 1900.
It's been in there for years like that.
Yeah.
But if you read further, it does have the expiration as July 27th.
Is this the one that special meeting?
That's on.
Didn't we have to have,
Yeah.
didn't we have a special meeting that time
Yeah.
to approve
Well,
it?
Good update.
not
Was it this one or that one?
I think it was something else.
Something else.
But-
But it was an event,
Yeah.
I remember. Oh, Manny was.
Oh, that's
Manny
right.
that time,
Fire rescue thing, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would make the motion that we approve the Class B license with the change that Marty pointed out.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carried. Next, we have the manure management annual update. PI 271 Finisher Prestige Farms of Iowa, Section 30 of Newton Township, no changes. A-Shide Farms Incorporated, Section 6 of Roselle Township, no changes. Ben David Clucky, Section 33 of Eden Township, manure analysis, was a change on it. Wheatland Finisher Farm, Hawker Farms 2 LLC, Section 15 of Wheatland Township. There are added acres, added crop rotation, and also manure analysis. And then Cumberland, Section 2 of Lincoln Township, Audubon County is an annual update. Antover Family Farms, Danny Antover, Section 32 of Viola Township, Audubon County, added acres, crop rotation, and manure analysis. Joseph Friesberg Facility, Section 32, Roselle Township, no changes. Ranch Creek Jurgens Brothers LLC, Section 25 of Sheridan Township, they've added soil test and P index. And Connor North, Stewart, and Becca Connor, Section 20 of Jasper Township, have added the soil test and P indexes. Committee reports. Marty?
Just starting
Whoop,
off.
whoop, whoop,
Go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
was handed this, if we could get this approved, another claim.
Claim, okay.
Oh,
With being the end of the fiscal year, it's money that would like to come out of this year's budget because of allocation money with the VA.
Just lump that in with the payables.
what I'd like to do.
Do you want to just treat that like you would
Well, no, we'll make a,
motion?
we'll just add it with the other payables, all right?
Thanks.
Okay. Is that agreeable with everybody? We just add that to the other payables. Do we need a motion on it, or probably, we probably should
It's not on there, so I think we should have a motion.
add it to the other payables.
I'll move to add this claim to the payment of this.
I'll second
And that motion needs to be added to the tables and be approved, so make one motion. Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Contrary, motion carried. Okay, now Marty.
Okay, last Tuesday I had the soil health day over at Jim down in Reedsburg, so I went out there for the morning. Basically what they did is they had a couple presenters there, they had water infiltration trailer there, and then they went out in the field, and basically the focus on it was the cover crops and water infiltration and soil, just to improve the soil health. Then in the afternoon, went with Gene, we met with Ed Smith, Karen Tim, Pat Gray, and Gene and myself. We met with the hospital regarding the mental health and the transfers. Had one incident where we had some issues with a court order. I think we've got that problem solved. It's got to basically go through the channels. One of the nurses supposedly authorized it, and it's got to go through the sheriff's department and then through the ambulance, and hopefully we've got that problem solved. So we spent about an hour there kind of verifying that. And that's all I had last week. This week I don't have anything so far.
Hey, Neil.
Okay, Monday I had two conference calls. One was with the director of the Second Judicial District to work on the meeting agenda for Friday, and the other was with the secretary in order to determine how to go about our director evaluation. Then on Friday, I had the actual Second Judicial District quarterly meeting, and quite a very, very lengthy agenda, and I won't go over it all. Iowa Department of Accreditation needs to accredit the Second Judicial District in certain phases. Phase 1 of their process is nearing completion, and everything looks fine. Each year, we have a couple different units go through pre-audits. This year, the B.G. Clark Center, which is in Mason City, and the Fort Dodge Residential had a pre-audit, and they both did very well in those audits. Talked a lot about the AFSCME collective bargaining. On July 1st, the new collective bargaining agreement between AFSCME and the state of Iowa goes into effect. And they had previously agreed on a 1% increase on July 1st of 2017 and of 18. So that's what the bargaining is getting for those 2 years, is a 1% increase. A very lengthy discussion was held on the community-based corrections personnel classification manual. They largely edited, amended, and changed the classification manual. That had to do a couple of things. First of all, there's a lot of things that are in the regular job classifications and the personnel policy. They're now in the new personnel classification manual. So we had several, dozens, literally, changes to our personnel policy, and for two big reasons. First of all, a lot of it is duplicated in the new personnel classification manual, and they just want to eliminate duplications. And secondly is the change of the collective bargaining. As I stated earlier, the collective bargaining unit or contract went from 266 pages to 36 pages, and a lot of this the language that was in the personnel policy related back to the union contract, and much of that is no longer applicable. So, for example, I'll just pick one out. There was an article that had to do with seniority that was deleted, layoff and bumping, which was deleted, recall rights was deleted, and the new policy reduction force was basically eliminated all the union language and said we're going to hire the most qualified person. So a lot of time was spent with personnel policy, new classification manual. Also reviewed the table of organization, and what that is just sort of an outline of who the director and who each of the employees are, and there's been some small changes there. We've added a few positions, and the biggest change I think is just the name changes where people have retired or moved to a different position. It seems when one person retires, people kind of move up the food chain, and several other changes happen on domino principle. We went over our budget, both for fiscal year 17, which is just wrapping up, and our fiscal year 18, how that looks. I think the main change was in our carryover. We had previously anticipated in our March meeting to be about $312,000. That's now $722,000 carryover. It seems like a lot, but we're talking about over an $11 million budget. And part of that is due to some projects that are just getting bumped ahead to the next fiscal year that didn't get done this year. And part of it is just some favorable things that happened. So as it stands, we're going to be okay to get through fiscal year 18 and cash flow okay, but fiscal year 19, big changes are going to happen either in the funding or in the number of people employed or the services offered. It just isn't what we're doing now, just won't work in fiscal year 19 on that budget. So a lot of information, a long meeting. One thing they did do that is of interest is they have a vehicle pool that they've started, and they've gotten the statistics back. They've saved a substantial amount of money, $40,000 in this case, by using company vehicles as opposed to mileage reimbursements, because they can run a company vehicle at lesser cost than what the mileage reimbursement is. And they pay at 39 cents a mile, state rate, not the federal rate. So had they been paying the federal rate, the change would have been even different. So that's something for us to think about as well, as far as having maybe some type of courtesy card here for supervisors to use them, or engineers or anybody when they go to an out-of-town meeting, as opposed to using personal vehicles. Okay. Any questions on the second judicial? Very good meeting, moved along pretty good, but there's a lot of information. Then we've all received our Rolling Hills update, and since I'm the member of that board, I thought I should address that. Basically, Dawn is really booked up right now, and we're having a meeting tomorrow, or today, excuse me, this afternoon at 2 o'clock, having a Rolling Hills. And she sent this out to all the counties opposed to meeting with us, because they're working quite hard on another project. She's hit some points and some things we're talking about. I don't know how much detail you've had, how much time you've had to read this over. Was there any questions in any of this that anybody had?
With the reserves, you have quite a bit of money left.
Yes.
And the new law is to get that spent down. So
Yes.
how is that going to, you're going to increase services, or?
Okay, we are in excellent financial position, Rich, but it's a excellent question, and, let's see, we have about, right top, we have a projected carryover, or the fund balance is 3.6 million. Our budget this year is 3.1 million. And that is exactly what they're working on. The state has required us not only to provide certain services, but to spend down our reserves over the next couple of years. And we're required to spend the balance in excess, have it below 25% by 2020. And that is exactly what this community service plan is about, that she's working very hard on a lot of other people. And that's the reason she's not here today giving this, is because she's working on the community services plan. And we'll talk a lot about that tomorrow, how we plan on spending it down. Our major concern is we don't want to just offer a bunch of services to get it spent down and then get it spent down and not be able to sustain it.
Sustain them. That's
Or do
the-
away with services. That wouldn't be good either.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have to pick and choose which ones
So-
to get rid of.
So there's some very important decisions that has to be made here in that respect. And that's a lot of what our meeting is going to be about this afternoon, Rich.
Okay.
Your question is bullseye on target. It's a big deal.
You know, one of the things that we talked about at the St. Anthony thing, do they not pay for some of the transportation of these people to different facilities? My understanding that they're turning them, they don't pay those bills, like even if they use the ES Center, that comes to St. Anthony's, or?
I don't think that they do.
To me, that makes sense that the region should be paying some of those bills.
For transportation,
Yeah.
I know they have some, the transportation I'm aware of that they pay is to get different mentally challenged people to work sites and back, but you're talking more about crisis situation, right? Yeah. No, I don't think they did
Doesn't
that.
that fall underneath what you guys were just talking about at St. Anthony's?
That's why I just brought this
Is,
up.
is because that was a issue where that mostly, as I understood, as Pat explained it to me, could have been hauled by car. There was no big medical issue, but there's no.
Yes, where the Yes Center's doing it, and that they
The
don't.
sheriff's department
The
probably
way
could have
we
hauled
were
it too.
told up there, they're still having to pay the Yes Center for those bills.
Let me get this straight. When someone comes from the hospital to the S Center, we're talking to juveniles.
No.
Okay.
They're using the Yes Center for transportation.
Oh, they're hiring the S Center for
Yeah.
transportation.
But when they hire the Yes Center or the Sheriff's Department, they have to pay for that up here.
Okay.
And that doesn't get reimbursed by the regions.
Do
Now,
they-
the one that we got talking about was a request for an ambulance that was court committed, but it was also a medical that they had to go by ambulance.
Okay.
And the big problem there was just that it wasn't, the documentation wasn't very, it was on a piece of scratch paper, okay? Wasn't a court order. It was a copy of the court order.
Did the judge sign it? Was there a judge that
Well,
signed
there was a
it?
judge that signed the court order, but we didn't have, by
You-
rights legally.
you couldn't have moved
Ken
them.
said we're supposed to have a court order that's signed by that goes to the sheriff, then to me. It's gotta go through the
Before you
sheriff.
move-
They
before
can
you
get
move
it to the
anybody.
sheriff's office and he can give it to.
Yeah,
I'll bring that up at our meeting this afternoon.
I would appreciate it, you know,
Okay.
because that seems to be one of the big issues that we have up there is the transportation cost.
It'd be a good way to get some of your excess money down.
Yeah.
Not just to
Adding
do
a
that.
program,
Yeah.
but not adding a big program.
But I mean.
Well, it's gotta be,
how-
to make
it's
it
gotta
more
be,
equitable
it's
to
gonna
everybody.
have to be sustainable, though.
I mean,
Yeah.
somebody's gonna
Yeah.
be paying that transportation all the time.
And it should be equitable to everybody in the region.
Yeah.
Transportation from St. Anthony's to Crisis Center where?
Crisis Center or wherever they're taking them to.
Okay, all right.
See, this
Right.
one here was to
Coralville.
Coralville.
Wow.
Yeah.
But it was also a medical situation.
Okay. Well, yeah, if it's medical as opposed to mental health, then they wouldn't be involved. This is the.
Well, but it was a mental health with a medical.
Compound
Yeah,
situation,
right.
okay.
But they were also saying, because I kind of questioned about, I know they use the Yes Center, and they say that they still have to pay for that. They don't, that does not come through the mental health.
Yeah, no, I don't think it is. Okay, I'll follow up on that. Any
I
other
appreciate
questions?
it.
And then I'll roll it on into this week. I have to meet with RSVP on Tuesday, but today I have the Rolling Hills meeting. And one other thing directly affects us, and we talked about this, was county office expense for Carroll County is getting reimbursed, and nobody else is for an office situation here. So that's part of the agenda there as well. I'll report back on that. And that's what I have in mind
Okay.
for this week.
Dean?
I didn't have any official business last week. However, I did get an email from Rosalind Russell from Storm Lake on the North Raccoon WMA. That meeting will now be, the next meeting will be on the 12th of July. I'm assuming they got a quorum. And they will be wanting to approve the bylaws at that. And I don't think there was any much controversy. You know, it's different, a little bit different than the bylaws with the Nishnabotna. And one of them was in voting. And that is, unless otherwise specified. Let's see here. To vote, it's going to take a simple majority, which would be a quorum, which would be a simple majority of those present. So,
And it's at 10 o'clock.
Um,
Lake City.
I don't have a time. They were lucky to get it on the 12th, I think.
Okay.
But I'll get back to you on that,
That's fine, just let
Rich.
me know, would you?
Then, also got an email from Kyle Ament from the DNR. They are getting together on the 28th of June, which would be this Wednesday. And that one is on Conservation Districts is hosting a conservation drainage event. It's very, very strictly farm-oriented on better ways to drain. So I'm not sure that I'm actually going to attend that. It's similar to I got this week. Join us on July 13th. And this will be, this is pretty creative. It's going to be at El's Corner. And it has to do with the Elk Run Quality Initiative. And they're going to set up a tent out there. And they just want landowners, to come as they are, So if anybody's interested in attending that, I'll probably just stop in just to see what it's like. Other than that, I don't have any meetings this week. except for if they do attend the one on Wednesday, so.
Okay.
I've got some, I had some calls this week on property assessment values, and I'll probably have to talk to Cindy about it.
Okay, Dean, Rich?
The only I had last week was I had daycare on Monday. They're trying to finish up some signage for the building. They've had a flooring issue, and the Martin Brothers had came in and moved a dishwasher and tore up the floor, and they agreed to pay for it, and they did. They put it back, and then there was an adjustment needed to be made to the dishwasher, and they took it out, they tore up the floor again. They have just bad luck, and so they're kind of in a rock and a hard spot on that one, but I think they'll get it solved. Outdoor play area, they're gonna start working on some of that, cleaning it up and getting rid of some things. They're still digging into maybe trying to put some type of turf there because they can't keep grass, the kids keep it beat down pretty good. Other than that, this week I have I'm gonna do the pictometry tomorrow. And other than that, that is it for the week for me.
All right, last week, Tuesday, I had, as Marty said, we had the meeting up at St. Anthony. I think one of the things that Ed and Karen are wanting to do this probably every quarter, every so often, just to keep communications open. So I do think that the meeting went pretty well. I think there was, I don't know what, there was a hidden agenda, but at least I was happy with the way the meeting turned out. And I think all three of us on our side was, so. So with that will be happening from now on, the way it looks like. And then Tuesday evening, then I had a policy council meeting, and they went through the whole report there. Financially, they were, currently we're at 50% of the current year for the Head Start, and our expenses are at 42%, so they're doing very well there. As far as kids who are pretty well fully enrolled, all the, they had one child abuse, I think if I remember right, reported possible potential. But other than that, they've got all their disabilities are met and plus more. So our in-kind numbers are running very much well ahead. So everything's going good there. We had a couple safety issues in regard to the playgrounds, the tiles and stuff, and they've been fixed and repaired. We did have a self-assessment and improvement plan. They did present that to us with what their plans are and where they thought their weaknesses were and things that they're going to change. And a lot of these new plans are because of some of the rules changes that with Head Start programming that they came out with. So we're just kind of making our stuff coincide with what their wishes are. So we did have one staff update. That's Rosea Castro was added to Perry for a program aide to a teacher's associate. Our purchase of the Waukee building, I don't know if you're aware of that, but we're looking at purchase of building in Waukee for a Head Start classroom, which we've gotten done, but now we haven't gotten a permit to do the work inside of it. But they were thinking the next day we was going to get the permit from the city. And with this permit, the city has come up with some extra things that are going to cost us more money that we weren't aware of, such as fire sprinkler system, and then also a 1,000-gallon grease trap, because they think we're like a restaurant. And we know most of that stuff we get in as food is catered in, so. We've started out our school district agreements. Right now, the only two that are back is Coon Rapids and Audubon. We had a discussion on COLA. The feds give us a 1% from the federals for the Head Start program. What we've done, the board in the past gave them a 2% raise, and with that 1% of COLA coming from the fed, we're taking that now, adding that back, being they got more than the 1%, we're adding this 1% back into our repairs and maintenance. Okay. I think that's it for that. And then, what else? Oh, then I've had several phone calls on different issues regarding Zach, and then, this week, I am scheduled, today, the rest of the day I'm good. Tomorrow I'm scheduled, 10 o'clock for pictometry, CADC, and also now I've got a 10 o'clock scheduled with the Sheriff's Department in regard to exit interview in regard to the audit on the fireworks permits. So I will be taking care of those. And then Thursday, I have new opportunities, new board meeting training at 3:30, and then at 4 o'clock, we will have our regular board meeting. You also have got, I think, did you get the email in regard to fireworks, fire guns, or firearms in the courthouse?
Yes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so-
See that?
Yep. Yes.
I would like to make one more committee report on the Coalition of Human Services meeting, which I did attend on Wednesday. The general meeting was really good, it was well attended. The program was by Julie Gore, who's from CASA, which is the Centers Against Abuse and Sexual Assault. She quickly went over different things concerning potential signs of abuse, best practice in working with survivors, what can you do, what can you say, what you should not say, and how do you report a sexual assault, which is very pertinent to a lot of people in the group that work with people who have problems like this. So I just want to make sure I got that report to this board as well.
Okay. Joanne, you have anything?
I don't know, covered it all.
Any comments from those in attendance? Okay. Well, I think that covers us for today. I hope you all have a happy 4th of July weekend. I guess, of course, we'll be meeting before that, so have a good weekend.
Make a motion that we adjourn.
Second?
We'll move in second to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion carried.
I think I'm gonna do